Jock, I want to move over to you, and I want to, post the question around finance. I think for us as Outsourced CFO, being in the business of helping entrepreneurs with finance, we've seen firsthand how incredibly important good financial management and good cash flow planning and all of the likes would be in this time. If you were to give business owners advice in terms of running with their finances at the moment, like how would you approach that?
Yeah, I think you've mentioned it to an extent in your question as well, though. But I mean, it comes down to cash flow. Like I say, cash is king. And in terms of that, I mean, you have to have eyes on that. And these days with software like Xero and you get Float, there's a lot of cash flow prediction that helps with just keeping it real time, and to really invest in that and make sure you have real time information to base your decisions on. The ideal for your average SME would obviously be to have some a runway in terms of cash. Some speak of 6 months, but I guess 3 months for most businesses is still a great idea to work towards that. But in these circumstances, that's obviously difficult, and by this time, one might have climbed into that too a bit. So then, like we've also mentioned, just making sure that in terms of you've cut the fat in terms of cost statements, and that you only spend on what you absolutely have to. And then the big thing that then remains is how are you going to get cash in? And that's the same for any business. You have to sell. So sales is a big thing. What are you going to do in terms of increasing sales, just getting things going again? And with that, I mean, it's obviously either trying to focus on industries, your clients that's not affected as much by disruption. So those industries, if one can focus on it. And the other thing is having maybe dollar-based clients that are not in our circumstances. So that helps a lot with our current dollar exchange rate. And then for some of your manufacturing companies, it might look at interim solutions. Like if you're on manufacturing, maybe manufacturing medical supplies in the interim, just to keep the ball rolling and to keep it open for that. If you can't really tweak your business in the short term, that's definitely some of the things one can look at.
Thanks, Jacques. I think that summarizes it really well. Proper financial systems that you have access to good financial information, and you keep your eyes on the cash and focus on cash in instead of cash out. From a practical perspective, how often would you recommend that a management team sits down to properly look at their cash flow right now as well as in the next little while?
Yeah, well, I guess it would depend on how volatile your situation is, but I would say at least once a month. And then depending on how project cash flow and things work, it might be even up to weekly and even daily if it's really a case of making sure when you make big project payments or expecting to get receipts. So it depends on the scenario. But yeah, again, you really great which one can use to assist in that sense.
Definitely. Hey, Lau here, one of the founders of Outsourced CFO. If you enjoyed this video, make it official. Click subscribe.